Hey, what is up everybody? This is Derek from Game of Skins and welcome to my channel. So I'll be talking about personal finance, stock investing, and money saving tips. So let's dive in. So in this channel, I'll be talking about the best and worst Canadian bank stocks of 2021. So sit back, relax, and I'll share my computer screen and let's do this.
Okay guys, so I just wanted to talk about the 8 publicly listed dividend-paying Canadian bank stocks. So we have RBC, TD Bank, BMO, Scotiabank, CIBC, Laurentian Bank, National Bank of Canada, and the Canadian Western Bank. But first of all, I just wanted to bring up this interesting event that happened in the banking history, specifically butting heads between Samuel Untermeyer and JP Morgan. So I bet you've probably bumped into a lot of JP Morgan's banks. They're all across the United States. And here's what happened. JP Morgan was pretty much testifying for a House committee where Samuel Untermeyer interviewed him, quoting, "Is not commercial credit based primarily upon money or property?" JP Morgan responded, "No sir, the first thing is character. Before money or property, before money or anything else, money cannot buy it." So why don't we just grab that and let's apply it to these 4 character traits that I would think help us know in terms of which are the best and worst Canadian banks for 2021. Let's pretend that these Canadian banks are like real humans. Let's analyze their, quote, character. It's almost like going on a dating website, you see? Where you're trying to find your soulmate. Would you trust them with your hard-earned money? Will your money be fruitful and multiply? Will it be safe? So I have pretty much boiled down to these 4 traits, which will help us look at which one is the best. Armour. What is the armor of a bank? Well, the thing that protects a bank is its balance sheet. And how we know about its balance sheet is its equity asset ratio. And pretty much it's pretty easy to find. Just go into the balance sheet. You look for the total shareholders' equity, and you also look for the total assets. Easy peasy. Grab those 2 numbers. You divide the shareholders' equity over the assets, and you got that number. It's a number that, looks very pretty, but if you don't know what other standards are, I'll let you know. Here we go in terms of breaking down which are the best in terms of its equity asset ratio to the worst in terms of the 8 Canadian banks. Pretty much the equity asset ratio gives us a clear indication of disaster protection, financial strength. So an equity asset ratio between 5.5 to 6 is the average. Below 5 is, you really want to avoid it. It's like stinking diapers. And you try to find, banks that could exhibit, an equity asset ratio of 7.5 or more. Why? Well, first thing is that your money, not only that your money is protected, but it provides disaster protection for the bank and possibly your investment if you were to invest in the bank. It's a possible takeover candidate because it's such an attractive bank where, a larger bank may want to gobble it up and be like, very delicious. I feel like I can earn more money by gobbling up this bank, and it can also lend more. So by having a very fat lending capacity, it's able to generate more business. So pretty much here we are. Number 1, Canadian Western Bank at 9.82% versus the bottom rank, which is National Bank, 4.9. So that's something to look at. One to possibly be interested in, and one to definitely try to avoid. So Clint Eastwood, can you tell us which is the good and the bad and the ugly bank? Well, sir, here we go. The non-performing assets ratio is the thing that can help you look at which bank is not doing a good job in terms of their lending practices, because we all know that how a bank makes money is that they loan out money, and how they do that, they have standards, they have guidelines, and this non-performing assets ratio would give us a good benchmark in terms of looking at how well this bank is run. So where do we go? The gross impaired loans is pretty much a number that you would need to find. You need to do some sleuthing, some Sherlock Holmes searching. It's my suggestion is that you go and download the annual report onto your computer. You do a search function, just type gross impaired, and it'll give you 50 matches. And I suggest that you just click next until you find the one where it matches the gross impaired loans to the year that the annual report is being reported for. So in terms of these Canadian banks, I grabbed them all from October 2020 annual reports that they all were issued, and you just need to find that gross impaired loans number, and you divide that by the total assets. And that is, like I said before, total assets is found in the balance sheet, very easy to find. But the sleuthing, it does take a bit of work in terms of finding the gross impaired loans. So, like I said, banks are in the business of making loans. How many loans go bad in relation to its assets would provide an indicator of what their lending practices are like. It's common knowledge that the bank may have, will definitely have some loans that go bad. But in terms of how their lending practices are, this indicator would help you look at which banks are doing the best job at doing it in terms of doing their lending. So you're going to see pretty much a non-performing assets ratio that's less than 2%. Pretty much all these banks are under 2%, so they're all pretty good in terms of how they make their lending practices. So all in all, pretty good. And what do banks do? They make money. They make money by lending out money. And it's one thing that you want to know in terms of, especially as an investment in one of these Canadian banks, is how well they are at making money. Because like they say, money makes money. Or maybe it's just me who says that. And how we find out is the efficiency ratio. So in efficiency ratio, you just take the non-interest expense and you divide that by the total revenue. So non-interest expense, you can pretty much easily find that in the income statement. It's a number that you just go down the income statement, you see it, and the total revenue is a bit more tricky. That's still to be found. All the numbers that you need are in the income statement. So you grab total interest income plus the non-interest income, and you minus the provisions for credit losses. And that pretty much is all found in the income statement. So that's pretty easy to find. Just requires you a bit more numbers to plug into your handy dandy calculator. But I broke it down for you in terms of who is the easiest money maker. So mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the easiest money maker of them all? It is Canadian Bank, Canadian Western Bank. What we can see here is that, in terms of the efficiency ratio, you find out which bank uses the least resources to make money, and that's how the efficiency ratio reveals. So the efficiency ratio, sorry about that, is a measure of a bank's overhead as a percentage of its revenue. So it's easy to see that Canadian Western Bank is on the top of the list again, and in terms of how easy it is in terms of deploying its resources to make more money. And lastly, number 4, how can you find out which is the best bank for your investment? Which is the best bang for your buck? Warren Buffett has pretty much told us many times, if you watch many of his interviews, especially on YouTube, that he expounds a lot about intrinsic value. And intrinsic value is very important in terms of value investing. Value investing doesn't mean an investment has a low PE ratio. Value investing is pretty much where you yourself find out the value of a company, i.e. the intrinsic value, and you pay a lot less. That is what value investing is, and I think that's what most investors are. You want to invest in something and you want to pay a lot less for it, and so that you're getting a good deal. So it's important for you to know what the intrinsic value of a company is, and the intrinsic value is defined based on many of Warren Buffett's interviews as a discounted value of cash that can be taken out from now until Judgment Day. And by having that knowledge, you can see whether or not you're actually getting a deal. And he also grabs an idea that he took from Benjamin Graham, who is the father in value investing and one of his mentors. And that is the gap. So margin of safety is the gap between intrinsic value and market price. By having that gap, it allows you protection in terms of if the investment goes a little bit down, at least you are protected in terms of how far it can go. I've done my calculations, I'm sharing it all with you, and here we have it. So margin of safety is a major pillar of value investing. So in terms of how you protect your investment and have the biggest upside to make sure that the gap between intrinsic value and market price is really wide. So number one, we have Canadian Western Bank, which gives you a margin of safety of 63%. So you can look for companies that are below 100%. The lower the better. And that way it provides you that added protection in terms of your investment. So let's look at Canadian Western Bank, and it's at a 63% margin of safety. So it gives you that a gap, so it shows you that it's not 100% fully valued in terms of its market price based on April 23rd of 2021. Whereas, a company like Laurentian Bank, the margin of safety is 145%. It's way above its intrinsic value. So in terms of that calculation, I would say that Canadian Western Bank is the best deal in town, and Laurentian Bank is pretty much that nasty asparagus water from Whole Foods that you really know it's not a good deal. And grabbing all those rankings, those 4 character traits, here we are. Here's the ranking for the best to worst Canadian bank for 2021, according to Derek. So first place is Canadian Western Bank, and last place is Laurentian Bank. So in terms of Canadian Western Bank, it's undervalued. Its balance sheet is great. It makes a better investment than its larger Godzilla peers, banking peers like Royal Bank and TD Bank, and that's what I plan on investing in a bit more, especially more Canadian Western Bank. So just full disclosure, I do own shares of Bank of Nova Scotia, Royal Bank, and Canadian Western Bank. So here we have it. Thanks for watching.
So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the content in this video. So spam that like button, drop a comment, and I'll catch you all later. Peace out, everybody.